Hello Ronlings. This is the second time I've said hello Ronlings because I just deleted the first bit of video, which I'm quite annoyed because it was quite a lot on there. There's loads of stuff on there that I forgot to clear, and so I cleared what I thought was old stuff and I ended up clearing the blooming bit I've just done. Anyway, so I'll say it again. I've been dropped off. I was doing it while I was walking. It was quite funky, so I was walking along going, yeah, bish bosh, bish bosh. And now I'm just standing here like a plonker because I'm at where I want to be. I'll tell you what, I'll walk around in a big circle. How about that then? Let's walk around in a circle. Right, so I got dropped off to this place because there's nowhere to camp. Nowhere to camp. That's a very short video, wouldn't it? There's nowhere to park. So I got dropped off with my girlfriend in this area because there's nowhere to park. So she drops me off, and then in the morning I'll give her a call and she very kindly comes and picks me up. I scouted this place out about a week ago, and when I was down here, it had lovely bushes around the edge, really thick bushes and trees. The fields had grass this high. So when I say I scouted, it was just a quick nose around. I didn't really properly look because I mean, you can't go wrong. You know, look at these bushes. That lovely, isn't they? And they separate the field. Look, they go all the way along there, all the way down the back, and all the way along there. Look at the size of them. Really tall trees, and they go. There's lots of fields all connected, and they're all separated by these big, tall trees with really thick undergrowth. I looked at it on Google Maps and it's really thick undergrowth. Bloody marvellous. And then, if the unlikeliness of that failing, there was really tall grass in the middle of Mr. Farmer's field. And so I thought, well, you know, even if that fails, which it can't, because look how much of it there is, I'll just plop myself in the field because, hey, you know, you'll be covered by the long grass. Less than a week later, I've come back and it's all mud. And on a grassy bit here, this is a tiny little patch of, but it's all mud. He's churned it all over. He's taken all the grass. Look at that. There's his big tyre tracks. He's taken all the grass and he's churned it all up, ready for whatever he's going to do with it. And it's the same across that field over there. I can't see what I'm looking at. That field over there, this one over here, all of it just churned up mud. So that's that stuffed. You know, I can't plop myself in the middle of the field because it's flat. That's fine. Remember I said there's trees the size of the world and really thick. I can't find a way in, and the few places I've managed to sort of force myself in, it's impossible to put a tent in. It's really dense, or there's too much vegetation, or it's uneven, or it's ditches, or it's full of water. And I've been around the whole field and there's nowhere to do this in complete stealth hiding. So what I've decided to do, which is a bit of a risk, because Mr. Farmer's only got to look out his window when it gets dark and the lights on and it's like somebody in my field, but I've decided to plop myself in this corner because there's, for some reason, this bit here, yeah, there's the mud, and this bit here hasn't been, for some reason this little section here hasn't been churned over. Does that mean he's coming tomorrow morning to turn it over and ends up turning me over with it? I don't know. But this one is kind of not muddy and untouched. So I was thinking of plopping myself in this corner. But so I'm sort of tucked under these trees down the bottom there, and I'm looking out to this, which is actually quite beautiful, quite pretty, beautiful view. But my worry is that I'm not hiding behind anything. I'm completely exposed, and you know, I can leave it till night time to put up because there's hundreds of people in here. hundreds is exaggeration. I keep seeing people walking their dogs. I've seen some geezer walking, going for a jog, because they've worn a path around the edge of the field. So it's like it's accepted that people can come in here. I'm presuming they don't get any trouble, that's why they're doing it. Loads of dog walkers, so many dog walkers, it's unbelievable. But once you start getting your tent out, hang on, you're now camping here. That's whoa. I don't think Mr. Farmer would like that, because this is a working field. It's just been ploughed, so you don't have to research that. So, you know, when it gets dark, I can leave putting up everything till night time and say, oh, sorry, I've got a cover of night, but I need to put the light on, see what I'm doing. I need to put the lights on to talk to you guys. And Mr. Farmer looks out his window and goes, whoa, light, what's that? You know, and this could be the first time I ever get turfed off a property, because this is the first time I've ever decided to do this and be so exposed and not be able to hide. Isn't it great to get your backpack off? It feels like you're floating. I feel like a spaceman. As soon as I get it off, I'm like, I feel like I'm suddenly not such a fat bloke. I'm like, marvellous. So I'm just waiting for night time to come, really. That's my only form of stealth. The night is my only stealth. As I said earlier, broken by me switching the lights on. But I'm kind of in a niche here. I've got a wall here. See, I've got a wall here, and it goes with, that's a corner, and it goes off up there, and it goes off up there into the distance. So, you know, so I've got this kind of shelter. You've got to come right in front of me to see me. And if you're around the other side of the field, it'd be impossible, well, really difficult to see. So kind of, I'm in a little sort of horseshoe shaped shrubbery. You know, I'm hoping people have no reason to come here. When I looked at it, I could see people walking their dogs around here, around there. If someone even got near, but they disappeared down that side, over this side of the bush, not down this side, because this side doesn't go anywhere. It's a horseshoe. So I'm hoping that's the geographics keeps people away. Because I'm staring at people walking their dogs now. It's really, really miserable weather. It's really horrible, miserable weather, and it's chucking it down with rain. There's a break at the moment, because even when the rain's eased off, it's still been this horrible spray, almost like a thick mist that's not stopped coming down. Hence the raincoat, but also the hoods for the fact that my hair is like super bright. There's no point in wearing camo and that, because camo isn't magic. It doesn't disappear. People would still see me. I might as well just wear, you know, this. But yeah, yeah, it's you know, look, yeah, that's you're gonna see that. Now I can't get it back on again with one hand. So yeah, so that's the reason, even though there's a break in the weather, that the hood stayed up, because you know, this from a distance isn't eye-catching, but maybe the hair is. I don't see the point of going full stealth, full camo, and camo's not magic. It doesn't make you disappear. The way camo works is that from a distance, if I'm camoed up, or I have a camo netting, you won't see me. Closer, if you're looking right at me, you'll see me. It's camo, it's not nature, it's just close. So you will see me, but it covers your peripheral. If your peripheral vision won't pick it up, because you might walk straight past. If you make eye contact, you're going to see it. And then close up, it does nothing, because anyone with only half a brain can see close up. Camo isn't real. So, you know, you can't just put it on and it's not magic. You can't just disappear and everyone walk past. Can't see it. In this instance, I don't believe camo would do anything, because I'm quite far away from anyone that side of the field, and anyone walking around this side of the field, because the field is what's directing people. Nobody walks across the big muddy bit generally. People walk around the outside. So if they're that side of the field, they're miles away, and if they come close, if they walk round the edge of the field to this edge here, then they're so close, so it doesn't matter what camo I've got, they're going to see me. I picked geographics for my stealth by being in a niche that doesn't look very appeasing to any dog walker. It doesn't go anywhere, so you can't continue through. You'd have to sort of come to the end, turn around and go back, which is a bit of a waste of time, isn't it? So that's geographics that I'm hoping keeps people away from here. All I'm worried about really is Mr. Farmer. Even, you know, the dog walkers, I wouldn't have thought the dog walkers, they shouldn't be in here anyway, it's the farmer's field. I wouldn't have thought the dog walkers would come in and go, oh my god, this man there is camping. Call the police or call Mr. Farmer, because Mr. Farmer's going to go, well, you shouldn't be in the field either. So they're not, I don't think the dog walkers are going to be a worry, unless the dog walker is the farmer. Well, there's a geezer coming across the field, running straight towards me, doing exactly what I just said it wouldn't do. He's running across the field and heading straight towards me. What point will he turn off? He was well looking at me then. I don't know if the camera got that, but I said nobody's going to run across the middle of the field. Nobody's going to be running across the field, running straight towards me. They'll go round the field. It's muddy, and then a runner comes straight towards me. Does exactly what I said wouldn't happen. Just goes to show, no matter how much you think things and think about everything and weigh it up, and still no guarantees, is there? It was just a runner. He gave me a funny look. He saw me with the camera filming him. Gave me a funny look. Thought he was going to come over, but he didn't. So that's my theory debunked almost straight away. So that's not helping my anxiety very much. I haven't had the bobcat out for ages. My last few camps, well, God, I don't know. Just put it in terms of months. For quite a few months, probably even as much as 4 or 5 months, I've been camping in 2-man tents. They're a bit heavier, but they're much less of a ball ache when you get there. You've got plenty of room for your stuff. You've got plenty of room to spread yourself out. It's if it's pouring down with rain, it's great. It's fine to get in there and yeah, with plenty of room. So I've been taking them with me, but they are bigger. So when it comes to super stealth, they're not. Yeah, they are a lot bigger. But I very wisely decided to come out today on the bobcat because I knew I'd be squeezing it. Well, I thought I'd be squeezing it into a small area. I'm not actually squeezing it into a small area, but I like the inconspicuousness of it. Arguably, because it's quite tall. So I don't know. As I'm saying it, I'm thinking, I don't know, not sure that actually made any difference, but that's why I bought it, because I thought I'd be squeezing into little holes, or potentially would. So so that's why I bought it. It's the first time actually since I've owned it, which is probably what, coming up for 2 years I've owned it, and it's the first time I've used all the guy ropes, because I camp in places where I'm in like a forest or something like that, and it's usually really windless. Excuse the dodgy camera work. So these are the first time I've had them. They're still all wrapped up how they were in the manufacturer, as the manufacturer wanted them. Rip. And so these two here, I think the first time I've even ever used them. I should have come that way a little bit. Look, I'm sort of down a ditch there, so I should have come that way a bit. But I started to put it up and I just couldn't be bothered to move it. I've gone for it sort of being a bit across the corner a bit, so I can sort of see in all directions when I'm in there. I tell you what, I didn't bring my luxury. I didn't bring my table, and I didn't bring my chair, because I was trying to keep it. Because at the time when I first come out here, it was pouring down with rain, and it was really, when that eased off, it's still like a really heavy heavy mist or a light rain, whatever you want to call it. And I thought I'd be just getting straight in a tent the second I got here. But no, as soon as I turn up, the rain stops. So, yeah, so now I haven't got my chair. My table I can do without. I like my table because it's very low and it's roughly the same height as the chair, and plops everything on it, and I can sit on the chair and cook and make coffee, and you know, and it's a luxury. I can do without that. You know, I like it. I don't like not having it, but the chair, oh my gosh, I don't like sitting on the floor. I'm too old and too fat, and it hurts my hips. So, but I thought I'd be diving into the tent and just lying in the tent, and now I really miss it. Darn it. Lesson learned, bring it anyway. Always bring the chair. No matter what the weather's like, bring the chair. Especially British weather, it changes from hour to hour. But anyway, darn it, gosh darn it, no chair. But anyway, I'm going to carry on setting up now I've moaned. All set up. Still quite light actually. I kind of started. I didn't even think about it, to be honest. I'm really hot. I didn't even think about it, to be honest. I just sort of waited and waited and waited, and then just started setting up. I wasn't supposed to set up until it started to get dark. And I've just finished. I just sat down. Thankfully, I brought a sit mat with me. I didn't think to do that. I didn't bring my chair, but I brought a sit mat with me. So at least I can. I mean, this has a vestibule anyway. I'm sorry, a vestibule ground sheet anyway, so you can sit on that. But yeah, I've put the sit mat on top of the vestibule ground sheet, and there's a little dip right in front of me. The ground goes, and that's acting. It's helping me not have to sit such at a right angle. You know, my legs and my back at right angles. So I'm crying less about that now, because I'd rather have a chair. Don't get me wrong, but it's not too bad. It's lovely and peaceful here, it really is. Before I just turned you guys on, I just was sat here for a while, and it's not a sausage. I keep seeing so many runners going across the field, and dog walkers, and they seem to be staying, except for that one runner that came running straight towards me, and I was like, oh, what's it gonna? They seem to be stuck to the other side of this field. There's like the field, and this bit I'm in is like a circular patch of grass that he hasn't ploughed for some reason, and everyone seems to be staying the other side of the field. It's like a growth. It's like a field with a little growth of grass on the edge, and thankfully nobody seems to be this side. I think it's because that side, if you follow the path around the edge of the field, it comes off onto like a main road, and that they're sort of, you know, doing a circuit and running home, going home or something. Maybe, I don't know, guessing. But I am absolutely starving now. I'm starvalated, because I didn't actually eat before I left, and I was supposed to bring loads of stuff with me, and as always, I forgot. So I haven't got any snacks. I want to be snacks, and remember, so I'm gonna have to go straight in for a meal. So I'm going to have I'm going to have chicken and white sauce. Time for a 360. Overdue for a 360. I think I thought I'd give you a quick one while my cat was boiling for me coffee. So here we go. This is today's 360. This is the environment I am in. Boom shanker. There you go. Today's 360. So I've forgotten already chicken in white sauce. Chicken's just chicken in white sauce. Absolutely gorgeous, with some rice thrown in it. But really creamy sauce, I love it. But I threw a bit of chicken on the floor. It's a long story, wasn't deliberate, obviously. I threw a bit on the floor. And I'm starving, so I was looking at it going, can I just... But I didn't in the end. What is the rule there? Is it a 5-second rule? Everyone says that. Oh, 5-second rule, pick it up. Is that true? If you stick to 5 seconds, you're safe from anything, any floor it lands on? Or is that a myth? Because everyone seems to say it. Oh, 5-second rule, just pick it up. And this floor is mud and grass. I wouldn't consider that dirty in the bacteria sense, but who knows what's been crawling along on the floor. But I did spend a long time going, I'll just put it back in the pot, it'll be fine. No, it gets heat up. But I didn't in the end. Only really hungry, that's like one bit of chicken's like the world. Because I haven't eaten since about 12, half 12 I think. I've just been so busy at home. And then it's like gone 9 o'clock now. This is the first thing I've eaten in 9 hours. Into my dinner, albeit very late. So when that bit of chicken fell on the floor, I nearly cried. I think I nearly cried if it was a few hours after I've eaten. That's how you get like this. Didn't have to be 9 hours later. If it had been 3 minutes later, I still would have nearly cried. I don't know how I'd survive in an apocalypse. You can't eat every 30 seconds then, can you? I tell you what, people are talking about apocalypse, it's like there's no tomorrow. So this is the first time I've had to put the light on. So from a stealth point of view, that's pretty good. The sky is strangely bright. I mean, the camera won't pick any of this up. There's enough brightness in the sky, perhaps cloud reflection or something, I don't know, that it's giving me enough light to see just about what I'm doing. So I've not actually had to put a light on my head torch, or because I'm not doing anything where I need to see serious detail. Just sort of grabbing my cup of coffee, I know roughly where that is, and I can see quite well to pick it up. Things like that. So I've not actually needed a light until now. This is the first time I've put a light on, so a bit conscious. I was conceding to the fact that I'm going to have to put a light on at some point, but for some reason I've not needed it. There's enough reflection from maybe the clouds or something to give a blanket of a certain amount of light, just enough to see what you're doing. So I've not actually had to put the light on until now. So from a stealth point of view, it's been really good. So I'm just putting this light on just to say goodnight, really. I've sat and just chilled, listening to the sounds of the animals and stuff. I've got to get up really early tomorrow to try and get away, because I don't know what time Mr. Farmer gets up, or if he comes. So I'm going to get up really early tomorrow, so I'm getting a fairly early night. It's about 10:30 I think. Getting a fairly early night because I'm going to get up in the morning early. And then have my breakfast and go. So that's me signing off. Good night. Morning. I've got the kettle going. Had my first cup of coffee this morning, and then I'm going to the excitement of finding out what this mystery Nescafe is. I'm confused over it because I don't even remember buying it. I don't know where it's come from. I think it's just a normal coffee. That's my exciting what do you call it? My exciting part of this morning. I don't know what you call it. I'm half asleep still. It's 5:30 now. No, 20 to 6. My alarm went off at 5. I snoozed it, so I must have snoozed it. I got up at 22, so I must have snoozed it like 3 or 4 times. I was actually really hot last night, all night. I didn't even use the sleeping bag at all. In this hot weather, with a sleeping bag, down sleeping bag that thick, I've been unzipping it and just pulling it over me like a quilt. Because the sleeping pads gives me plenty of warmth from underneath. So I've just been doing that. And then you can stick an arm and a leg out, and the air gets in to keep you cool and stuff. But it was so warm last night, strangely enough, because the weather's been miserable. It's so warm last night I didn't even use it. I forgot to say about last night, I didn't record any of it because it would have been pitch black and you wouldn't have seen anything anyway, and I didn't want to talk. So last night I said goodnight and I was brushing my teeth, and I don't really know why, but I was sort of just walking around while I was brushing my teeth. I've got no seat to sit on, so I was just pacing up and down while I was brushing my teeth. And as I was walking a bit further that way, I saw a black figure walking this way, walking towards me. I thought, oh, you know, it's somebody. I think a lot of people cut across the field, perhaps to save a journey. So there was somebody walking across the field towards me, and I was like, oh. So I just stopped with the toothbrush in my mouth and waited for him to go. But we were really close because there was enough light to sort of just about see what you're doing. I didn't even have my lamp on or anything because there was enough light to see what I was doing, but it obviously was still dark, so I didn't actually see him. He was wearing dark clothes till he was really, really close, because you can't hear anything. It's just grass floor, and so I just stopped with a toothbrush in my mouth, and he kept walking. And he went, because as I said yesterday, there's nowhere to go here. This is like a big horseshoe shaped hedge area. So if you're trying to go somewhere, you wouldn't come this side. So we went the other side of the bush to get to wherever he's going. And I thought, phew, blimey. Oh no, you know, that's just somebody passing. I don't know if he saw me. He must have seen me. We were so close. I couldn't see his face because it was too dark. So I thought I'll stand there for a bit, because if he saw me, I don't know if he's going to be curious and come back or whatever. So I was just about to go back. So I finished brushing my teeth and I just waited and thought, no, he's just passed and he's gone. But then somebody, I don't know if it's the same bloke or not, but somebody came back. I didn't see them come back the way he came, but I saw someone else walking, it's kind of a cross, so they weren't coming back from the same direction he came from. They were walking across the field, and then they went back again in the direction the other person went. So was it coincidentally somebody else just cutting across the field, or did that guy sort of think, what's going on there, and then circle around and come back for another pass? So that obviously made me really nervous, really concerned, because I don't think coincidentally it was just someone else that happened to be walking across the field like just a few minutes after the first one. So it sounded like that person had seen me, wonder what was going on, and sort of circled round and come past again. And that made me really concerned. I was like, because that showed that somebody was taking an interest in what was going on over here. Oi. So I was watching YouTube. Look at the sun through the bushes. It's a really sunny day today. Well, you can see the moon. The moon. You should be getting that. I can't actually see that on the screen, believe it or not. Am I in the right place? Yeah, I literally can't see that. That's annoying. So I don't know if you're seeing that or not. But there's the moon there, and when you walk round that way, there's the sun at the same time. Love that, when you can see the moon and the sun. Anyway, that's not why I come on. I was watching YouTube while I was waiting for my breakfast to cook, which I've eaten now, by the way. I'm seeing again somebody, this time he was answering a message, somebody asking something like, does it need to be expensive to go wild camping, or, and I keep seeing the same message every time somebody talks about it, and they always say, no, it doesn't have to be expensive, it doesn't have to be expensive. Get yourself out there, blah, blah, blah. You know, a stove is only £5, you just get yourself a £5 stove. You know, sleeping bags are 10p, you know, just get it. But the two things that annoy me about that is, one is that yes, you can buy a stove for £5, and you can buy, yeah, you could buy a tent for £20. So you can do these things, but the trouble is with camping, I guess like any hobby really, is that you've got a lot of stuff to buy. It may be £5 for a stove, but you need the gas bottle as well. You need you know, a sleeping pad, you need a sleeping bag, you need a tent, you need a cook set, you need I mean, you don't need a cook set, you could bring one from the kitchen at home, but you know, it's really heavy and bulky to carry, so you kind of need a cook set, and there's you need a bag to carry it in, and I could go on, there's more. So no matter how little you spend, it still mounts up, and it's still expensive. You know, to somebody who wants to get out, say like the average guy who's got a job but got a mortgage, not exactly flush for money but has a bit spare, that's a lot of money, even if you go cheap. It really is a lot of money. But the so many dog walkers around, it's unbelievable. It's like everyone in the world has a dog. So the second thing that sort of worries me about that also is, it's the right tool for the right job, because if you go and buy a tent for 20 quid, yes, you can buy a tent for 20 quid, and yes, you've saved yourself a lot of money. But if you then take it out on top of the Peak District or the Lake District or all the districts, then you end up putting yourself in potentially a lot of danger, because sometimes their weather is amazing, but most of the time it's extremely windy or extremely miserable weather up there, and a £20 tent is going to be dangerous for you. Saying to someone, yeah, it's cheap, don't worry about it, don't worry, you know, go all year round and just buy the cheapest sleeping bag you can find, and then you go up on top of the Peak District in the middle of winter and you die of hypothermia because you bought the cheapest sleeping bag you can find. Or that's probably a bit extreme, but at the very least you'll have a miserable time because you'll be freezing cold all night because you bought the wrong sleeping bag. So it's not cheap. To the average person who isn't a rich YouTuber, it's not cheap. Even if you try and go cheap, and if you try and go cheap, you're putting yourself at a potential risk. So it's like any hobby, really. You try and go as cheap as you can when you start out, and then you add bits and bobs here as you learn to use it, and as you there's a dog walker behind me. As you learn to use it, and as you sort of get experience, you know what you do and don't need, and you slowly over time sort of upgrade everything, which is exactly what I did. But it's dangerous to tell people. I'm going to stay here now, out of the way of the dog walker. It's dangerous to tell people it's really cheap, and it's dangerous to tell people just do it as cheap as you can. Oh, son. Because you shouldn't. This isn't some hobby where you not buying something expensive means you don't do it as well. This is something that could actually get you in a lot of trouble if you bought as cheap as you can, depending on where you're going, obviously. So that's something you have to take into account. It's not cheap no matter what you do. It's expensive. To the average man on the street or woman on the street, it's expensive, even if you try and go cheap. But you have to also not go cheap in areas where it could actually give you a really miserable time. So they're telling people to go out and do it on the cheap, and you get up there and half these people are going to be miserable and have a rubbish time and think, I don't like camping, I'm not doing that again. Well, it's because you've got the wrong equipment. You know, I camp all year round, and in the winter I'm warm and dry, and in the summer, obviously, you know, I'm warm and dry because it's the summer, because I've got the right equipment, and I enjoy it because of that, because I don't like being cold, I don't like being wet, and I don't like being uncomfortable. So I've got the right equipment to not have to go through that. So you're potentially putting people off of it by just saying, yeah, do it as cheap as you possibly can, and then they go out and go, oh, this is rubbish, I don't like this. You know, it's not as simple and as clear cut as just do it as cheap as you can. There's way more to it than that, and it's not cheap even if you try and buy everything on the cheap, because you need so much stuff. It doesn't end up being cheap. I don't know. I've got a video, it was a long time ago now, on my channel. It's the equipment I started out with, and I did it as cheap as I possibly could, and I itemised everything, and I totted it all up, and I can't remember how much that cost now, but I did it as cheap as I possibly could. And the only place I didn't skimp, even then it was relatively cheap for what it was the sleeping bag, which I use today. That's probably the only bit of equipment left I can think of that's the original. Because I did it as cheap as I could and then upgraded it as I went along. But the place I didn't skimp was the sleeping bag. I got an OEX Leviathan down sleeping bag because I wanted to use it in the winter. I wanted to be warm overnight. It's the only place I didn't skimp, because you can't. If you're going in the winter, you can't skimp. You've got to get something that keeps you warm, and that costs money. It's one of the cheaper down ones. That's the only way I could sort of cut costs a bit. But if I'd have bought a cheap sleeping bag, I would have had a really bad time. So I don't know why these professionals are telling people it's really cheap. I think the only thing I can think of is they've got so much money, they've lost the reality of how much people earn and have spare, and to them, when they go out and buy their tents for £500, you know, a tent that's £200 is cheap to them, but it ain't to people like me. £200 or £150 is a lot of money, and I have to save to get that money. You know, I bought a cheap Vango tent for about £127. I had to save for that. I couldn't just go, oh, I'll buy one of them, money's in my account, there you go. I had to save for that. It's not cheap, not by a long shot. But having said all that, it's the best experiences. One of the best experiences I've ever had. You know, I can't put it up there with the birth of my daughter and stuff like that, but it's certainly the top of my experiences ever camping, I'm talking about. And however much it cost, it was worth the money. And that's the thing to take away from this. It isn't cheap, but it's such an enlightening experience, and brings me so much joy and so much serenity. And when I come away from a camp, I'm so relaxed, and I can't put into words how it makes you feel. So all the moaning I've been doing about the expense is not moaning about camping. It's worth the money. If you camp, if you buy the right equipment that keeps you warm and dry, and then it is worth every penny. And that's what I'm trying to say, is it's not cheap. I don't know why people keep saying it's cheap. It's not cheap, even if you do it cheap. But it is well worth it, and it is well worth spending. I mean, I'm not saying you should buy the most expensive stuff you can find, but you know, you need to understand where you're camping and what you're doing and what you're going to need for that, and not just go, I'll get the cheapest everything. You need to know if you're going to be going up on top of a hill that's -2 in 3, 4 in the winter. You need a sleeping bag that will accommodate that, not just the cheapest one you can find on the internet, which is what everyone seems to be telling people to do. Just buy the cheapest one you can. No, you shouldn't. Well, it's time to go. I've sort of half packed up bits and bobs as I was waiting for various things, kettles to boil and stuff like that. I'm gonna pack it all away. There seems to be a massive amount of activity from dog walkers, so I'm gonna pack it away, and I'm gonna head off, call the missus to come and pick me up. And I really enjoyed this camp, as always do. A bit of a hairy moment last night, as I said earlier, with the man in black, and but other than that, you know, I really enjoyed myself, and it was well worth it. And I'll see you for the next one, whatever that may be.